Well, recent legislative developments have actually sought to place an age limit for certain political office holders in Nigeria and remove immunity from high placing of offices in Nigeria. Well, we're going to be discussing this and we're going to be talking about the 60-year age limits on political office holders and removal of immunity from vice presidents and governors in Nigeria. His Royal Highness Igwe Nwobodo. He is in the studio to do justice to that. Good morning, Igwe, and thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning, my sister.
All right.
Good morning, viewers.
You look colorful, by the way.
Is the last day.
Absolutely. And happy Mother's Sunday to Lolo.
Thank you. Thank you. Lola, Signature TV is greeting you.
All right, Igwe, tell me when the news of the bill, proposed bill, to place a certain age limit on persons who may want to run for political offices, when it broke, what was the first thing that came to your mind?
Sincerely speaking, when I heard of it, the first thing that came to my mind was, I believe these people are not gangstanding. Because these are not the issues we
on
should
the
be
front burner.
On the front burner that we should be talking about in Nigeria. That should not be the bill. For me, no matter how we look at it, we mature with time. For you to place age limit of 60 years for politicians, you are now shutting the door against public servants who may have gathered some experiences that when they retire from public service, they should not come to join politics. And at that point in time, you will certainly, of course, be shutting the door against critical-minded professionals who may have made it and should be looking for names. When you say you shut the door against people 60 years and above, you are now, in fact, I was looking at it from the selfish point of view of the sponsors of such bills. People who now begin to look at politics or political office holding as their own businesses. So they were simply being selfish about that. You know, our legislative houses, like the House of Assembly, Senate, and of course House of Representatives, ought and should be peopled with persons of high pedigree, people who have made it from their endeavors, people who have experience that are coming to look for name, people who are coming to see how they can serve people. And not really about younger generations who are looking for money. And that is the reasons you can begin to see that people are more concerned about what they are bringing to lobby them, not really what the issues are. We are talking about how to strengthen our political processes. How do we strengthen our independent National Electoral Commission that the politicians will not begin to influence it? You make it a law. You should be talking of how to strengthen our electronic voting so that we will do as much as we can to reduce, what do they call it, rigging of elections by any standard. That's what we should be talking about. Not you stand up and begin to talk about age limit for politicians. Where is it done? So you are now cutting off maturity. Okay, assuming that stands, and assuming I have the calling of becoming a politician, I'm now 64. Hell and hearty. And people like me are many who can reason. And you are saying such people should not occupy public political offices?
Now, Igwe, what should be the right protocol before these bills? Do they really get the input of their constituents before pushing these bills to, to the national, to the green chambers or red chambers, as the case may be? Did it follow the right protocol?
No, eventually, when you ask me whether they feel they follow the protocol, I wouldn't know. I will take your first question. What should be the right protocol? Can we take it from
Absolutely.
there? And if we take it from there, I will tell you that the right protocol is for you to come back to your constituency through your constituency offices. This is the bill I want to present. How do you think it's going to impact on you? We are talking about restructuring Nigeria. We are talking about peopling our institutions with persons with high integrity. And such persons are found within the age bracket you are talking about, 60, 65, 70. And they are saying such people should not come close to political office. Let me tell you, age has nothing to do with competence. For me, I should even be saying that people who didn't or who have not on their own or who have not served in public offices earlier, people who have not made it earlier with high pedigree should not even qualify, not about the age. Somebody who just finished school and joined as a hangers-on on one politician, and from that he became House of Assembly member, then House of Reps, and to the Senate. He hasn't done anything where he gathered experience. What value has the person there? I need courageous men who will stand up in that house and tell the government that we should restructure Nigeria for a better Nigeria. We should be talking about how to strengthen our security through restructured security agencies. We should be talking about how to improve our agriculture, not just talking about it, making the bills and using your, what they call oversight function, to make it work. So the other thing that came to my mind was that these people, and it has come, after thinking like that, you called me on phone. They have just brought something, an irrelevant thing for us to begin to talk about it when they are busy doing what they shouldn't be doing. We are not talking about 60 years. Why should it be a concern to even bring it before the National Assembly? Why?
And Igwe, they paired it with this immunity thing that they potentially want to take away from certain office holders. Do you think, you have actually alluded to the fact that this is a form of disenfranchisement, but do you think it's more targeted than that? Do you think it's targeted towards 2027, just to disenfranchise people like P2B, Kwankwaso, Atiku Abubakar? What are your thoughts?
So eventually, Nigeria is a funny state. Many of us are funny characters. And you want to bring the bill. They were obvious, they were even saying it. Their speeches are tailored towards that some people should be stopped from contesting in 2027.
Are they afraid?
And not just being afraid. Why are we discussing people instead of issues? Are people our problem? Our problem is that we don't have strong institutions.
But institutions are made up of people. No people, no institutions.
Yes, no people, no institution. But of course, there is no institutions without a legal framework that should be followed by any disciplined character. Let me tell you, if we strengthen our institution in such a way that if you are found, for example, I apologize, I want to use DSS, for example.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to use DSS, for example, and I'm not just, because this is an institution. I don't intend to
no, you're just doing it hypothetically.
Yeah, hypothetically. If we have a law that provides for summary punishment for a DSS person who compromises his job, and 1 or 2 or 3 persons are punished, that institution will become different. Let me take you to Singapore. Let me take you to Singapore.
Lee Kuan Yew's Singapore?
Yes,
or current
the
Singapore?
Lee Kuan Yew Singapore.
It still persists. Is it
Yes, Singapore is still a first world.
It is a first world.
It's still a first world, and it was done by a man. And I want to give you some hypothetical statements from that man in his book, From Third to First World. I don't know whether our politicians read that. Now, in Singapore, there was this headers menace, like it happens in Nigeria.
We're talking in the 60s, so let's place it in the
But
right.
of course, we should have been growing. We were
Exactly
at
my
par.
point.
Yes,
Exactly
we
my
were
point.
at par with Singapore. Or
What
we
they
were,
dealt
we,
with in the
yes,
60s, we
yes,
are still contending with it.
Yes, and we were at par with them.
We were.
Malaysia, the close neighbor to Singapore, came here to borrow palm fruits from us. And I tell you that we can make more money from palm oil than even crude oil.
Crude oil.
Is what we can do. Well, let us go back to Singapore and what happened. You know, I was giving you an instance of headers menace. So, Lee Kuan Yew was sitting in his office and was overlooking the environment and saw a particular lawyer racing to court. All of a sudden, the cattle bar onto the road, and the man ran onto the cattle and died. It meant Lee Kuan Yew. He brought his men. Everybody was suggesting what could be done. In the end, Lee Kuan Yew said, no, enough of this menace. He now gave an instruction, which became a law. Don't touch even because the Indians were the headers there. Don't touch the people. Any strayed cattle you see, catch that cattle, kill it, take the meat to the Cheshire homes, like Motherless and so
charity
on.
homes.
By the time he killed only 53, nobody told the headers to begin to ranch their cattle. Can it happen in Nigeria?
You think it was?
Now, let me even tell you, in Nigeria, when you talk about that, you see somebody get up to say that everybody has freedom of movement. Yes, human beings have freedom of movement. Do the cattle have such freedom that the cattle can just enter your farm and eat it up? The law was made and followed. That is what we want. I want a house that will insist that the executive arm of government does what the law says. Not coming to give us something to begin to talk about 60 years age ceiling for politicians. Who does that? It then shows you the reasoning of such a person, that is not talking about maturity with time.
Yeah, can you connect it to 2027?
No, I have. That's why I started giving you an example that we shouldn't be talking about 2027 where they want to keep some people out. And maybe somebody may have been influenced to begin to say it's targeting some people instead of targeting issues. This is what I told you. People should target issues. People should discuss issues. That's what we should be talking about, and not individuals. People, probably they are looking at some influences they may not contend with coming from somebody, and then let me target this person. No. The real problem we have in Nigeria, we have a system where we have interdependent arms of government. The executive, the legislative, the judiciary. But we have a system in the present time where every other arm, or almost the other two arms, have abdicated their responsibilities, and one arm determines what happens. Not just one arm. You know the funny aspect of our system, the thing that makes me laugh, is that we don't have political ideologies based on party line. somebody gets into office through a political party, and a political party that has a manifesto, the manifesto he sold to us, and the manifesto we voted for, they will certainly abandon it. And it becomes one man's manifesto. Whatever Mr. President says goes, whether it's within the ambit of the law or not.
There's no check or balance.
There is no checks and balances anymore. And once the executive says, he lobbies his way out and he's done. I'm sorry you are inviting me and I'm a media person, but yes, I can speak with caution. But let me also tell you that it is better we speak the truth, no matter the position we're occupying. Let me tell you, have you, and I'm sure you must have, as a media person, read through our Constitution, the Section 305, based on which Mr. President acted.
Yes.
Those issues raised in Section 305 were there in.
They were not met.
But why did our Senate pass it? And then they are coming, the House of Rep is coming to talk to us about 60 years. I see these things as frivolities. I see it as trivial issues that shouldn't come to the front burner.
All right, let's focus on the immunity aspects. Some people, there's this school of thought that is thinking, okay, so if the immunity is removed, maybe it can cut down some excesses of governors and some other, political office holders. What are your thoughts on that?
Eventually, the word immunity, I'm just seeing it as an alibi.
How so?
I'm coming now.
Okay.
I'm seeing it just as an alibi, an excuse why people are not taking the trajectory they should take to correct some office holders. It's immunity forever. That clause, immunity, is entirely on purpose so that the person sitting, holding the executive position, may not be distracted within the time he's in office. Because if you simply remove it, it then means that if the governor is wanted in the court, he certainly will. Immunity to me is not the issue, but the willingness to apply our laws. Yes, the highest the governor can be there is 8 years.
Immunity is not
After
forever.
8 years, what happens? Those of them that are being prosecuted, being investigated, if he has immunity not to come before the court within the time he's in office, does he have the immunity not to be investigated? When people raise issues, I begin to wonder whether immunity of Mr. President or immunity of Mr. Vice President or immunity of Mr. Governor is the reason you in the House should abdicate your oversight function. How many governors have been called to book by the House of Assembly that has the powers to say, we budgeted for this, we got this money, these things are not executed? Why? Have they asked such questions? Does the immunity clause stop them from oversighting His Excellency the Governor? It's unfortunate that we leave issues to discuss irrelevancies.
All right.
So, let me conclude about this
Okay.
immunity. You now see why I told you that immunity is just an
Alibi.
People are raising excuses for not doing what they ought to do. If we remove it, they still will not do what they want to do.
True.
Because the greater majority of people in those chambers, legislative chambers, are there to make money,
True.
not to serve.
All right. I'm thinking in my mind, if possibly this bill is passed, wouldn't it disenfranchise even the sitting president himself come 2027?
Yes, that is the bill he wants to, he has brought before the. I don't see that bill selling, except the Nigerian factor, the negative Nigerian factor. Because when we talk of Nigerian factor, we should have Nigerian factor that is positive. So the negative Nigerian factor, except that bill should not pass.
Okay.
Because, excuse me,
Okay.
Constitution provides for the right to be voted for and the right to vote. Even if you can deliver service, and we see you that you can deliver service, bedridden.
Igwe, there's something you said. I want you to expand on it. You said Constitution stipulates someone to be voted for and to vote.
Yes,
now, if this bill is passed, do they need to amend the Constitution?
But that is, except you amend the Constitution, which is the grand norm, it hasn't become. That's the point I'm making. You know, you can't be tying the legs of our Constitution and wanting our Constitution to do its sprint job, do a 100-kilometer dash in 1 minute. But then you are tying the legs of our Constitution. Let me tell you, there are issues they should be discussing. Our 2023 election was something else, especially as it concerned the presidential elections. Have we looked at those bills about electronic voting?
But it was the same system that threw them up. So
that's what I'm
do you
saying.
think they want to revisit
I'm telling
it?
you, look at my worry. INEC, before that election, told us what it was going to do with Beaver's machine. And that thing was not done. Based on flimsy excuses. Has anybody been punished for spending such billions? I wouldn't even use the word spending. For wasting such billions of naira on beavers to checkmate certain ill activities. All of a sudden, while the election was already on, what you said we are going to happen, it didn't happen. And nobody has been punished for that. We were told that anywhere the beavers didn't work, that the elections were not going to be, elections in those areas will be cancelled. Did it follow? We were told so many things, and which, while the matters were before the court, we were now told that the INEC was not straitjacketed to follow what they said. Which nation grows like that? These are issues I expect them to be talking about, not to come to think about how to disenfranchise somebody, how to stop somebody from pursuing his ambition. If somebody is 100 years and we see that person mentally alert, and if we choose wrongly, then we should be able to blame ourselves that we chose wrongly. If somebody is 150 years and we believe that that person is still going to be our president, why are you taking that choice from us? Because anybody we vote at any age is our choice. And once you say that we should not have that choice, then you're also disenfranchising the majority of people who wanted him. Because democracy is about who the majority is following. Simple majority. So place the options before us. If we choose a 150-year-old man, it's our choice.
That is the stipulation of democracy.
Yes.
All right, Igwe, you did say that you made mention that you don't see this bill being passed. You know,
yes, under normal circumstances.
Under normal circumstances, thank you. But it has passed the second reading.
Yes.
Do you see it being thrown out during probably the public hearing, or how do you envisage it will happen?
If we organize the public hearing properly, a kind of plebiscite, on that particular bill, it won't pass.
You think
A number of
boycott?
persons, yeah, they may. In our system, no matter the concerns of the public, no matter what they say, we are still talking about local government autonomy. How many public hearings have we had about that? What is stopping the recognition of the autonomy of local government? So it's not about the cosmetic approaches we give to certain things. The Constitution says public hearing. Let us organize public hearing. After the public hearing, what happens? Should we still be talking about local government autonomy? Not many local government workers may have received their salary for March.
Months.
Sorry, for
Months.
February. Reason that the local governments have not opened the account. You know, people should be issue-based in their actions and speeches. And until you get to that level, my sister, I don't think we are being sincere to ourselves.
Igwe, how can we get to that level where there's a system of accountability and where people focus on issues rather than on people? What do we do? What can we do? What can be done?
People leave issues to focus on people instead of discussing issues. We are the people involved. Just like I am now talking. A number of people in my category, probably because of their bias. You know I'm media biased.
I know.
I'm a media person. And when the media invites me, I'll come and talk. The traditional institutions should begin to speak the truth to the people. Our councillors should begin to speak the truth to the people. Our state legislature should begin to speak the truth to the people and act the truth. We should stop wasting funds on preparing bills for laws like the one we are talking about. Do you know how much, if you know how much money, how much millions
Goes into
that goes
bills.
into sponsoring the bill for 60 years age limit for politicians? If it were to pass in America, somebody like Trump wouldn't be there. Biden shouldn't have been there. Even the past presidents of America shouldn't have been there. And they did wonderfully well. You know? They did wonderfully well. Applying their system. Living their lives. Okay. Are you aware that the Supreme Court of America sentenced their president to unconditional pardon? But that was a sentence. They followed their law. Can we begin to allow our laws to operate? That is the rule of law. That is what the legislatures, the legislatures from the local government to state to federal should be looking at. Making our laws work. And that is what we call the rule of law.
All right, Igwe, has there been any form of discussion about this, among your group, Council of Igwes? Maybe there's a possibility you want to organize and probably write to the House, the Green Chambers. Is there any, activity around this, within the Council of the Igwes?
Around what?
Around
the 60
this
years?
bill, yes.
No, of course there shouldn't be. It's just yesterday that this bill hasn't lasted yet. But of course.
Yes, it has passed the second reading.
Of course, there shouldn't be a forum for discussing it. Because the Igwes don't have constitutional rules. In those days, we used to have House of Lords. if
the
we
parliamentary
have,
system.
yeah. So if the Igwes have been given constitutional role as a fourth tier of government, who have the freedom to speak, as it is now, not many Igwes will have the courage even to discuss. But I've been a media person, I've been a public affairs analyst, and this is where I understand the need for having media. I understand that this is an avenue for applying sunshine as a way of infecting our system. If we shut the media out of what we do, then we'll be like...
It's total darkness.
Yes, we'll be in total darkness. You know? So, I don't think there has been a forum where we discuss it. And even where you discuss it with caution. Even here I'm speaking with caution because I may not have constitutional protection. When you talk about the politician, he waits for you somewhere, without looking at the truth you are speaking about. But I want to tell you that from my nature, which I know runs in me, what I think is the right thing, I say it at any point in time. The consequences might come, I don't care. But like I am saying it, everybody knows that what I'm saying is the truth. This is not what we should be discussing now. Our economy is no diving. We're not thinking about how to make it good. Our naira is dying. And except we become a productive nation, our naira will keep where it is. We are not, our system, our security architecture is, I don't blame the police, I don't blame the army, I don't blame even the civil defense. What is their number to police 250-something million people? If you restructure police such a way that you have federal police, state police, even down to local police, with proper means of checks and balances, then you have a number, reasonable number, for proper policing. If we begin to go electronic, these are bills I think they should be talking about, how to make Nigerian policing more electronic than manual, because surveillance is the starting point of security. This is the bill I want, not 60 years age limit for politicians.
All right. Igwe, we have run out of time, but do you have other parting shots just in 2 minutes? Do you have any other advice just in 2 minutes, because we have run out of time?
Okay, I'm just appealing to our legislative members, people that are in the legislative houses, to be more issue-based than petty things they are talking about. As we speak now, age limit is not our problem. Our problem is how to make our system stronger than what it is. We have many areas to get into. You know, when I was growing up, the elementary economics I had and the geography I had and so on, we used to have areas that are designated farmlands, agricultural spaces. Under no circumstance, nobody will build houses on those places. But today, what is in vogue is real estate. Like in my own community now, if we tell every community to go and produce what you eat, we can't be farming on the houses. Everybody is talking about farm settlement. But in 2018, I was in Malaysia. The same 2018, I was in Geneva, France. And we asked questions. The real genesis of even high-rise building They have farm designated areas. Under no circumstance should anybody build houses there. As long as Christ tarries and the world remains, whatever we eat must come from the soil. And if we don't have proper planning, then we have planned to fail.
Sure.
So let them be committed to issues, not frivolities like age limit and what are they calling it, immunity. Is immunity on governor stopping you from doing your proper legislative work?
True, true. All right, thank you so much, His Royal Highness Igwe Nwobodo, traditional ruler, Ugwaji community Enugu. Thank you for your insights. They were really insightful and instructional.
Thank you. Bless you.
Save Nature TV. News in your pocket.